basically what we're doing for this assignment is we are going through and making problems that are maybe unaware to other people obvious, so that way we can see how people react to them and try and fix the problems. So did you know that 69% of parents said that their stress had little or no impact on their children? The truth is, 91% of children said they saw effects in their parents' behaviors, which included yelling and arguing. Children who noticed their parents' tension reported feeling sad, worried, and frustrated. So, if you look around a class of students, whether it's in art or if it's in a tutorial, you'll notice that some students dress nicer than others. And if you go through and you look, you see that some families are more affluent than others are. They have more money, they can go through and afford things that some of the students down here can't. And down here, it's really, really easy to be financially unstable because the jobs are little to none or they don't pay very much. Parents are struggling with their own issues, and that spills over to their kids. Drew McWilliams is a clinician and a chief operating officer at Morrison Child and Family Services in Portland. And he goes through and he talks about how all of these different agencies don't really track mental health as tying to the economy. But according to the Center of Disease Control and Prevention, 5% of children ages 4 to 17 were characterized by their parents as having seriously behavioral and emotional difficulties. And a lot of teachers and parents often see problems when a child cries excessively, has problems playing with others, or is disengaged in class. And since the financial collapse of 2008, Drew McWilliams, a clinician, like I said, says that his clinic has experienced an increased number in children of suffering from anxiety, depression, and PTSD. Many are trying to cope with the stress born of persistent financial insecurity. So what are the signs that we see every day? Well, there's decreased appetite, there's headaches, bedwetting nightmares, sleep disturbances, stuttering or upset stomachs, and big stomach pains. I mean, we see kids at school who are like, oh no, I'm just not very hungry. And they go through and they won't eat lunch or they won't eat breakfast. A study of brain images of 317 children from varying socioeconomic backgrounds found that the hippocampus tended to be smaller in participants with lower family incomes and bigger in affluent subjects. A smaller hippocampus has been linked to several psychiatric disorders, including schizophrenia. And if you look, the one on the left, it's two twins, and the one on the left has what we would call a normal brain, while the one on the right is more damaged. It leads to PTSD, and it leads to major depression. All different signs that show, these are all different MRI scans. They show how it is actually a physical disorder, not just mental. It goes through and it affects the brain. And with depression, when you're more lit up, you're not as depressed. And we noticed that a lot of different students, if we were to go through and do MRI scans, we would see the difference in coloring. So what can we do? I want to go through and create a program called the Helping Hands of Children with School. What it'll do is it'll help financially unstable families in our community who can't afford things for their children, whether it's school supplies, new shoes, a coat, that sort of thing. Basically, we use the money that the school gets and we don't know what to do with to help benefit our students and our environment. It's a confidential program that whoever is a part of would have to sign a release form, and they would not be able to talk about how they helped benefit a specific student. They can't explain who the student was that got helped. And what it would do is we would bring the parents in and ask them about how things are at home, how they are doing financially, and most parents are going to be not wanting help because a lot of people think that they don't need the help. We can go through and offer different types of things, but if they tell us they don't want it, then we would have to respect their wishes. But we see students who have holes in their shoes, or their shoes are really worn down, and they have problems in PE because their shoes just don't work for running or working out. So it would help make kids more comfortable in school. So these are my sources that I use. 3 of them are pictures, and 2 of them are different types of things on mental health and financial instability. Do you have any questions?
Did William McGregor write a book, or is this a study?
This was a study I found online. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so it's a But was it published in a?
It was published on Huffington Post.
But he never put it out, that's a newspaper,
Yes.
very local newspaper, but he never put it out anywhere like a medical journal.
I'm
or-
not sure.
mean,
I could look and
I
get
just
back to
wonder
you.
about the credibility.
Yeah, I could look and
of
get back
this
to you
man,
if you would like.
Of the study. And the pictures that you showed us of the different MRIs, what was the source of that?
The sources, I got them off of different sites that went through and talked about MRI scans of depression and schizophrenia and PTSD.
Okay, were they, I guess I'm asking, were they credible medical sites?
Yes.
And that would be in your sources?
Yes.
Okay.
What it seems like to me is we do get, we got shoes.
Yes.
We're working with a church to do jackets. We're doing things like that. And it is hard to give out that information or to know who really needs help and let them say yes or no. And how would you go about doing that, do you think? It's real.
At first, we would talk to the student and see what situations are like at home. It'll be kind of like a counseling thing. Like when Mrs. Pena brings us in to talk to us about how things are. We would bring them in, ask how things are at home, ask how the living conditions are. Not like a social worker, but asking if they need any help, like if they want a pair of shoes that they think would help them, or if they don't have a jacket or have jeans that need to be fitted to them, because a lot of people wear really huge jeans because they're hand-me-downs. And if they say, well, we are having a little bit of trouble at home, because like I said, the students do notice these kind of things with their parents, because their parents will be more rigid, more difficult to talk to, and that sort of thing. What we would do is we would go through and pull in the parents after we talk to them and have just a long conversation about what we can do to help and if they think they want the help. And we could tell them we see different sorts of things that are going on in school.